Brenda Williams.
And can you spell your last name?
Williams. My son's name is Thomas Williams. He is 20 years old. He has a severe cognitive disorder with a chromosomal abnormality. They call it a microdeletion in chromosome 16. He was diagnosed. It took 14 years to figure out what he had. They had said it was ADHD, and then he had some other traits of other things. So it wasn't like cookie cutter, yeah, you have this. So we started noticing it around age 3. He was having problems. So from 3 to age 17, that's when we finally found out what he had. Having a child with healthcare or special needs is very challenging. It's rewarding, but it's challenging as well. You learn patience. He will push buttons, but you learn to just adjust to that, and every day can be something different. He can, one day something's going to work with him, the next day it's not. So you just keep trying, keep pushing forward, and hoping that he turns out okay. The support system that we have for Thomas, I believe, is a very good one now. He sees a counselor twice a week, and this counselor comes to his house, takes him out for breakfast, just has casual conversation with him, but yet he has a way of drawing information out, and which helps in turn, helps to help him deal, get coping skills, help him to deal with things that he's struggling with. One of the biggest challenges that we face with Thomas is friends. He wants friends so bad, and anybody that comes up and says, "Tom, I want to be your friend," he believes them. And a lot of times it is people that just want to get money out of him or you take advantage of him. So that is the biggest struggle in trying to make him understand what a good friend is and what a bad friend is. But he has such poor judgment skills that he has a hard time deciphering that. What concerns me most about my future with Thomas, just making sure that he is successful, that he has the skills to be able to function just like anybody else, that he can live a normal life and as much as he can, and have the right kind of friends and keep a job. So he does pretty good with that so far, but things can change on a daily basis with him. The things I have learned from Thomas is to never give up, and always keep a smile on your face, to just keep going forward, regardless of how hard the struggles get, and to show patience. He shows more patience than I do at times. What I would advise to other parents is if you're not getting the supports or what you want from the supports you now have, to just dig right in yourself and start making phone calls, and those people will help to get you to where you need to go. The top supports that we have for Thomas would be his counselor. He is number one. Without him, I don't know where we would be. So he is number one. His caseworker through CCCW, she has been a huge help, and also with DVR. We have a new DVR counselor, and she has been helping very well, getting everything set up for Tom's employment. One of the biggest things that kept me coming back to Yippee for the weekends is the wonderful facilitators. They have taken their time to listen to individual stories, to give advice as much as they could. The wonderful parents. I have met some awesome parents that go through daily struggles just like I have or I do, and to get advice from them. and also to see my son make friends, real friends, with people that are like him, that struggle, and they understand each other. And he just keeps telling me, Mom, I love the relationships that I have formed at Yippee. One of the changes I have seen in Thomas since attending this is that he stepped up to the plate to make his own appointments, and he wants to make them so that he can make the own, the time that he wants. Just getting more involved, not being afraid to speak out and say, hey, this is what I'd like. Yippee has better prepared me and my son to where we're not afraid to go to our school district and say, we've been to this Yippee conference. Here are the wealth of resources that we have to better prepare parents that are at that age where their kids are going to graduate, and the timeline of when things should be done or they should be checking into things. Other families should attend Yippee, just number one, for the resources, because there's so much, and it changes all the time. They're going to come out with new things next year that they didn't have this year. The facilitators, they're fabulous. There's such a wealth of knowledge for parents, things that we didn't even think of, and they bring up, it's like, oh, hey, yeah, maybe we should check into that. Even if maybe it doesn't, the child may not get that, at least you check into it and you have an answer. And the food is great, too. The food is great.
It is.
What else can I say? The food is good, too. We got to have something in there about that.
Yeah.
Yes, it did take 14 years to find out what was wrong with him. We just kept going back to the doctors and just persevering with them and being like, this is not right. Something more is wrong. Moms always have that gut instinct that something just isn't right. You just keep persevering, asking for more tests. And if that doctor won't give it to you, then you go get a second opinion until you get somebody that will listen to you. We were lucky enough to have my doctor, who has been fabulous with the Marshfield Clinic. So she followed Thomas since he was very young. And so she knew that, okay, Thomas has had challenges. We've had all this. She would sit down and read through his record on her off time just to get to know better of what was going on. And then she would sit and brainstorm as to, okay, what is our next step? When I found out what his diagnosis was, I felt relief. Like, okay, now we have some answers. Now we can pave the way forward as to how to handle things or give him coping skills as to what is going on. One of the biggest things was he can sit here and tell you that throwing a ball through a window is wrong, but yet in that circumstance he would throw a ball through a window. So it's like, okay, I don't understand how you can tell me it's wrong, but you go and do that. That was all part of the chromosomal or the microdeletion that he has, that his judgment is very poor. And he's very impulsive. So the impulsivity kicks in when he's in that situation. But when he's out of it and he's calm, he can tell you it's wrong. So that was I struggled with that for years. I'm like, how can you tell me, this is right? Well, he knew it was right at one point, but in the situation that it's like, just like he didn't have that, that stopper, that a lot of us have, that, okay, don't do this. He would just go ahead with it. And then once that window is busted, now you have to deal with that. Well, the child's going to get in trouble. So, but yet they didn't really have control, but to try to explain that to people when you don't even know why he did it. So when we got answers, it was like, oh, okay. And then I always read books to try and help him. One excellent book is called Helping the Child Who Doesn't Fit In. I do not remember the author, but that is an excellent book, and that's one that was recommended to me.